This is Netrush Report, your home for the most dramatic, emotional, and high-stakes stories in tennis. If you live for shocking rivalries, untold truths, and the raw emotion behind the sport's biggest stars, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join us for the ride. August 28th, 2025. The U.S. Open second round. Court 17, an arena known for its intimate chaos, became the stage for one of the tournament's most unforgettable matches. Stefanos Tsitsipas, seeded 26th, was already walking into this clash with pressure stacked against him. He had not reached the third round of any Grand Slam in 2025, a shocking fall for a player who once stood on the doorstep of major glory. Across the net, Daniel Altmaier, the German underdog with a knack for giant killing. From the first ball, the match carried a strange energy. Altmaier was sharp, fearless, and willing to throw in the unexpected. His underarm serve in the first set tiebreak set the tone. Tsitsipas, visibly irritated, complained mid-match, a sign of the growing frustration that would only boil hotter as the night went on. When Altmaier clinched that first set 7-6, it wasn't just a scoreline. It was a statement. But then came the storm. Tsitsipas roared back, unleashing the brand of tennis that once made him a French Open finalist and a constant presence in the top 10. With booming forehands and aggressive net play, he wrestled control, taking sets 2 and 3. Suddenly, the Greek star was leading 2-1. The comeback was alive. The crowd leaned in. Could this finally be Tsitsipas' turning point in a season of chaos? And then, it happened. Fourth set. Altmaier, clinging to his belief, broke Tsitsipas and took a 5-3 lead. The pressure was immense. Every point carried the weight of survival. From the sidelines, Apostolos Tsitsipas, father, mentor, and ever-controversial figure, leaned in and gave clear verbal instructions. The cameras caught it. The umpire heard it. And in that moment, one of the first ever coaching violations under the new rules was issued. Here's the key. Coaching is no longer fully banned in tennis. Since 2023, players could receive instructions, but only under specific conditions, such as when a coach is on the same end of the court. Apostolos, however, ignored this. His words broke the rules. The violation stunned the crowd. The chair umpire's announcement sent murmurs across the stands. And Tsitsipas, already frustrated, now had to deal with yet another mark against his name, and against his family's reputation, because this wasn't new. Apostolos Tsitsipas has long been accused of overstepping, of yelling instructions, of becoming a disruptive figure. Even back when Stefanos was climbing the ranks, fans and commentators alike criticized Apostolos for meddling too much. And now, in 2025, under the new regulations, he became one of the first coaches to be officially punished. Did his words even help? No. Tsitsipas lost the game, lost the set, and suddenly, a deciding fifth set loomed. If tennis is a sport of psychology, this was a masterclass in unraveling. The fifth set was brutal. Altmaier, energized by his opponent's meltdown, found another gear. Tsitsipas, weighed down by mistakes, coaching drama, and self-inflicted chaos, lost focus. The rallies grew longer, the tension sharper. Then came the decisive break. Altmaier sealed it 7-5 in the final set. The scoreline read 7-6, 5, 6-1, 6-4, 3-6, 7-5. A marathon. A heartbreaker. A symbol of Tsitsipas' season. At the net, drama erupted one last time. Tsitsipas, perhaps out of exhaustion, perhaps frustration, made a comment about intentionally aiming a shot at Altmaier's body earlier in the match. Though he had apologized at the time, admitting it later left a sour taste. Altmaier wasn't interested. He brushed it off, walked away quickly, and celebrated. For Tsitsipas, it wasn't just another loss. It was a loss wrapped in controversy, poor decisions, and the never-ending shadow of his father's influence. Truly understand why this moment stings so much. We need to look at Tsitsipas' year. 2025 has been nothing short of disastrous. The Australian Open. He crashed out early, struggling to find rhythm. Roland Garros, a place where he once nearly lifted the trophy. He failed again to push deep. At Wimbledon, he was stunned in the first round. And now, at the US Open, another early exit. For the first time since 2018, he has fallen out of the world's top 20. Coaching changes have only added to the chaos. A brief stint with Goran Ivanišević, Novak Djokovic's former mentor, promised stability. But it didn't last. Stefanos went back to his father, Apostolos, hoping to recapture their old magic. Instead, the same old problems resurfaced. The once confident, charismatic star who faced Novak Djokovic in epic Grand Slam finals now looks like a shadow of himself. Lost in the chaos, though, is Daniel Altmaier's triumph. This was no small feat, reaching the third round of the US Open for the first time in his career. Altmaier now has a chance to test himself against Alex de Minaur, the 8th seed, and one of the sport's fastest rising stars. For Altmaier, this wasn't just a victory. It was validation. Proof that his grinding style, his patience, and his boldness under pressure can topple giants. But of course, the headlines weren't about him. They were about Tsitsipas, Apostolos, and the never-ending cycle of drama. Which brings us to the real question. Is Apostolos Tsitsipas helping or hurting his son? For years, fans have debated this. Apostolos has guided Stefanos since childhood, nurturing his talent, instilling discipline, and shaping him into one of Greece's greatest athletes. But at the highest level of tennis, where margins are razor-thin, his interference has often backfired. This US Open violation might seem small on paper, but symbolically, it's massive. It represents the very problem critics have been pointing out for years, that Apostolos cannot separate fatherly pride from professional coaching responsibility, and Stefanos, now 27 years old, must face a brutal reality. If he doesn't change something fast, his career risks slipping into the what could have been category. Where does Stefanos Tsitsipas go from here? The 2025 season has been a nightmare, but tennis careers are long, and redemption stories are always possible. The question is whether Stefanos has the courage to make the hardest choice of all, stepping out from his father's shadow. Because unless he takes that step, unless he finds clarity, moments like this, moments where coaching violations and emotional collapses overshadow his talent, will keep repeating. And for a player once destined for greatness, that might be the harshest loss of all. What happened at the 2025 US Open wasn't just a match. It was a reflection of everything Stefanos Tsitsipas has been battling for years. Pressure, expectations, family dynamics, and the thin line between brilliance and disaster. As Daniel Altmaier marches forward, Stefanos is left searching for answers. One thing is certain. This story is far from over. This is Netrush Report, where we bring you the raw truth, the untold drama, and the emotional heart of tennis. If you found this breakdown compelling, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more stories that take you beyond the scoreboard.